Liverpool Community Independents will be standing as a candidate to challenge Labour's Maria Eagle MP at the next general election in the Garston and Halewood constituency. The person who sent me that image there, that flyer, is Alan Gibbons, and he's on the call as well as, I think, others. How are you doing, Alan?
Good, yeah. Sam Gorst and Lucy Williams are both on the call. It's a bit of an exciting time. Next Wednesday, three opposition parties, including ourselves, are moving a motion for a ceasefire in Gaza at Liverpool City Council. And being pushed by my two colleagues, we've declared pretty promptly, given that Maria Eagle has not voted for a ceasefire in Parliament, that we ought to actually put forward a genuine independent socialist candidate at the next general election. It's an enormous thing to do because we'll have to raise a phenomenal amount of money and get a hell of a lot of volunteers out. But sometimes, historical necessity means you put yourself forward.
And is that the most likely seat that could be won, do you think, in Liverpool from your group?
Not really. She's got an enormous majority. I mean, all the MPs have across Liverpool. We had to choose somewhere, and I think there's a couple of three MPs have actually voted for a ceasefire. One was absent at a conference and says she would have voted for a ceasefire. So it's actually the political choice by Maria Eagle not to join those calls that has necessitated us choosing that area to stand.
Right, and Sam and Lucy are on the call as well. Sam, how big are the protests in Liverpool against the siege on Gaza? You can't unmute. Oh, you are.
They've been enormous, really, and for Maria Eagle to abstain, I mean, it's just give us a sense of not only anger but a sense of injustice. I mean, what we're hearing from average Garstonians as well within our constituency, they are really pissed off with Maria Eagle. And it's not just because of a vote on the ceasefire, but general lack of involvement within the community anyway. She seems to put a fortnightly newsletter out, which is basically just getting a photo at every other event that's on within the area, but she doesn't invest herself in the community. So people are really fed up with Maria Eagle anyway. She's lost most of her council seats within the constituency to opposition parties. So we felt that it was a good time to run someone against them. We have been thinking about it for some time, but majority is massive. We haven't got high hopes to win outright, but we do think that we can I don't know, be a good competition for her.
I mean, you had a lot of stick and dirty campaigning against you in the council election. We spoke after you won that one, and would you anticipate that would happen again?
I mean, if I put myself forward, it would be quite a dirty campaign.
Right.
I can imagine that. So I don't know if my mental health's in that really to run. I'm sure Lucy would be a fantastic candidate. But as I say, we've got all of this like fighting us to try and remove Labour generally. But Maria Eagle particularly has not opposed any of this nastiness. She hasn't called anything out, and there's actually a person that works in her office now that is instrumental in this bullying brigade that she's pandered to. So yeah, we do want it out, and we want it out quite prompt, to be fair.
Lucy, I'm sorry, but it looks like they're putting the thing pointing at you in a way for this. What's your How do you feel about how would you feel about being a candidate?
I'd be happy to be a candidate, but I think we're very much doing this as a group. So it is Liverpool Community Independents. We've got a huge support base, like across Liverpool and in Garston. So I'd be happy to put myself forward as a candidate with the support of like a really good team. I work very closely with Sam and Alan, and we'd use that. We'd use what we did with the local campaign. We'd do the same again, but just on a bigger scale. We will need a lot more feet on the ground. We're going to need a lot more money. She's got a huge majority here, but I think out of all the politicians in Liverpool, I think her seat is the most vulnerable. On Wednesday, we were inundated with people contacting us about the vote on Wednesday night. We've been told that she got over 500 emails on one day urging her to vote for a ceasefire. She's ignored all of her constituents, and people are angry. If we're going to get her out, it's going to be at the next election. I think now is the time to do it. She doesn't represent the people that live here. She doesn't align with their principles. And I think if we're going to do it, it's going to be next year.
Wow. Now, look, what's your Alan? Back to you. How can we help? I mean, you're talking about money, obviously. How much money do you think you need to raise for this?
I mean, they're astonishing figures. I mean, I've heard that the Labour chest is going to be 15 grand, and I mean, you've got to aim to try and match that. So we'll have to do a crowdfunder. We'll have to try and get the funds. I won't say what we ran our last 3 campaigns on, because it was like a couple of farthings out the pocket, but we managed it. We're going to need a lot more to actually have a credible left-wing campaign. So that will be number one. But I mean, we'll need feet on the ground. I mean, the reason that we did much better than a lot of left-wing campaigns in the past in the council elections was quite simply we had a big profile before the campaign started, working hard as councillors in the community, living in the community where we stood. And that we went on the knocker on a regular basis. I mean, I knocked doors altogether 4 times over a year, every single door in Orrell Park. That's how I got 77% of the vote. And we won't be able to do that with the scale of a constituency, but we've got to be able to try to leaflet every door and knock on every door during the campaign, prioritising our strongest areas, obviously.
Right. And Sam, do you think you could get? I mean, how many people do you think you need to get down there? Hundreds? Can we get that for you?
I think hundreds would be great, but teams of like 20, 30 would be fabulous as well. It's so hard with the lack of hope after Corbyn to try and get a lot of people rallied around, especially in political causes. But I think you can equate this campaign to this vote in Gaza. I think abstaining on such a vote is a dereliction of duty for me, and I question a person's humanity and empathy when they do abstain on votes like this. I mean, sometimes I think Maria, as she abstained because of the whipping system and is out of fear, but then I think no, because she voted for war in Iraq and Syria and so on and so forth. And I think for me, if you keep thinking back to these people's voting records, it should drive you to get out and to want to make change and to change people's lives. So I think people just need to, like, I don't know, put in perspective that I know we are upset about the situation that happened under Corbyn, but there is still hope for smaller changes, around the UK, and I think people need to like remind themselves of that. But yeah, no, these people do what they do out of careerism, and it's nothing to do with being out of fear. And I feel as though if we can all rally round in Garston and take Maria out, not in that sense, but in the sense of a political sense, then we will achieve a lot. Definitely.
Yeah. So, Lucy, it looks like you're being selected already by this. Well, it hasn't been put. I'm only joking. I'm pushing it a bit, but Joe Bird's standing in Wirral against Labour, so there could theoretically be two candidates that people in the Merseyside area could go up and support. I think there's a great opportunity here to get rid of Maria Eagle. Do you want to tell us why it's going to happen, how you're going to become the MP?
How? With a lot of support, we need so many more people. We kind of, in our local campaign, it was just, we had the same group, but this is on such a bigger scale. We just need the support from everyone to even cut away a majority a little bit. So it's going to be a huge campaign. It's going to be a long campaign as well. But initially we're going to set up a crowdfunder in the next week. We're going to put some posts out on social media. But it's the feet on the ground that ultimately is going to win. We're going to be really active on social media because I think when we did that locally, Sam was really proactive on social media, and that won us a lot of votes. So we need to do that on a much bigger scale as well. And we're starting to get more support from younger people, but I think we need to engage with them more. When looking back at Jeremy Corbyn, he had a huge young support base. So the people are there, but we need to get them out. And I think we can do that here. We are engaging with the local community, but we just need to extend that a bit more.